Hello and good morning, students. Today we are going to start our revision lecture series in the e-learning program. So far we have completed the first term syllabus in the English grammar text, Fun with Grammar. So from today's lecture onwards, we will be trying and revising all the chapters that we've learned so far in our text. So in this series of revision lectures, as you can see on the board, today is going to be our first revision lecture, and the topic for the first revision lecture is articles and determiners. Well, the name of the first chapter in our text is only articles, but I think the understanding of determiners is equally important for students to learn. You learned about determiners in the last class, that is standard 7th 2. So we are going to revise articles along with determiners so that we have a perfect idea about these two things. Articles is a kind of determiners. So let us first begin our understanding with the diagram that you see on the board about kinds of determiners and two definitions about determiners and articles. To talk about determiners, we can define determiners that determiners are words that specify a noun and point at it. For example, words like any, some, that. You point at something. Therefore, such words refer to as determiners. They determine something. The name itself gives us the idea determining or determine something, determiners. In comparison to that, if you take or understand articles, articles is one of the kinds of determiners which we are going to learn in this diagram. Articles, words like a, an, and the are determiners that indicate the coming of nouns or the importance of nouns in a sentence. The article a has one letter, the article an has two letters, whereas the third article, that is the, has three letters. Therefore, I sometimes say that these are the three magical words 1, 2, 3. 1, 2 and 3 because it contains a single letter, a double letter and a triple letter. Well, these are the two definitions of determiners and articles. Now let us see the kinds of determiners which we really need to know and revise, where articles is the first one to understand. So articles, which is also a determiner among the other kinds of determiners which we need to recall. Articles, three words as we just discussed, a, an and the is one of the kinds of determiners, but that is not all. We have other determiners too. We have demonstratives like the words this, that, these and those, because they point out to something. As we just said, determiners are words that specify a noun, gives us the specification of a noun. They specify a noun. They tell us something importance of a noun and it points at it. So determiners, demonstratives are those determiners which point at something to show the position of that thing. So this, that, these, those are the words which are demonstratives and they fall in the category of determiners. Moving ahead, the third one we have the possessives. Possessives, the word itself tells us having the possession of something, belongingness to something, something that somebody owns or you own. You have it, it is in your custody or it belongs to you. So I say belongingness. Possessives, words like mine, our, your, his and her. They indicate, they tell us that something is belonging to someone, either to me or to someone else. Basically, it shows belongingness. Therefore, we call them as possessives, showing a possessiveness inside it. So, possessives are also one of the kinds of determiners. The next determiner that we need to read and understand about is the distributives. Well, Distributives, as the word itself tells, matter of distribution or giving to someone or distributing something. So here we use words like either, neither, each, every to show the distributiveness, something that is scattered over or distributed. So to qualify or to express the idea of distribution or separation or something that is scattered around, we use distributives, and the words are either, neither, each and every, of which you will be seeing in the sentences soon. The fifth determiner is quantifiers. Well, the word itself tells us something related to quantity or number, noun, number expression. So quantifiers use words like some, any, much, more, several, which could be used for countables as well as uncountables. And finally, the sixth one, the sixth determiner is the interrogatives. Well, interrogatives you learned earlier. Interrogatives are question asking words. Words which help us to ask questions are called interrogatives. Words like what, which, whose, and so on. So these words are interrogatives which fall in the category of determiners. So this is how the six determiners are made and what they are comprised of. Now let us read one example of each of these determiners to understand better. Articles. I kept an apple and a pear in the basket on the table. Now if you carefully observe, we have used almost all the articles which are determiners in this one single sentence. I kept an apple. I have underlined the word "an" to highlight it, to show it to you. I kept an apple because here the word apple is showing the singularity. We will be learning about the uses of articles in a while after this. And a pear. So a is the article written just before the noun. A, the coming or the importance of the noun in the basket. The is the article. And finally, again we have used the same article the just before the word table, which is a noun. So articles used in a sentence. Demonstratives. This room was painted recently. So we are pointing out to something. We are showing projection to something by saying not any room but this room. Similarly, words like that, these, those can also be used depending upon the sentence. So here in this sentence, the word this plays the role of a demonstrative, which is a kind of determiner. Moving on to the next sentence. Possessives, as we understood, showing belongingness. My grandparents lived in Kochi. So what are you trying to express by saying this sentence and using the word my? That not anybody's grandparents, but they are your grandparents or my grandparents. So the word my shows belongingness. You mean to say the grandparents belonging to me live in Kochi. Therefore, the word my and such other words like our, your, his and hers are all possessives which fall under the category of or is one of the kinds of determiners. The next determiner example, distributives. Each girl in my class is fond of reading. So we are distributing the idea or scattering the idea, not one, not two, but each and everyone. So each single girl that is in my class is fond of reading. So when we are expressing this idea, we make use of the word each or similar words like each, every, or either, neither, and so on, which are distributives, and finally they are kinds of determiners. The fifth kind of determiner is quantifiers, and the sentence is many cars are parked here. So we are trying to express that a number of cars, therefore number expressions also we can say, because cars are a countable noun or car is a countable noun. So many cars, the word many when it gets associated with the noun cars or cars shows the counting quality inside, or it becomes a countable noun. Many cars are parked here, therefore the word many plays the role of a quantifier or a number expression where cars can be counted. Therefore, it is a kind of determiner. The last determiner example, interrogatives. As we just understood, interrogatives are question asking words. Which fan has to be repaired? The word which has been used in the sentence to ask a question to find out which fan is to be repaired. Therefore, which plays the role of an interrogative in the sentence, and finally you can say it is a kind of determiner. So I hope the understanding of determiners along with our main topic articles is now quite clear. Well, it is sometimes understood that students tend to make a mess or tend to not understand properly the difference between adjectives and determiners. So many a times this confusion takes place with students. So the next thing that I am going to show you on the board and display is the difference between adjectives and determiners in a tabular form. So let's witness this. Let us now understand the difference between adjectives and determiners. Well, adjectives can be differentiated or distinguished from determiners with the help of these 3 points that I have displayed on the board. Have a careful look and let us understand them one by one. An adjective qualifies a noun and describes it. We know about that, isn't it? That words which describe nouns are called adjectives. That is the first and foremost basic difference between an adjective and a determiner. Example, she is a pretty girl. So here the word pretty is describing the noun girl. Whereas, if you see the difference over here, a determiner specifies the noun and points at it. It does not describe it, perhaps it points at it and specifies what it is or tells us what it is. Example, this girl has stood first in the class. So it is pointing out to tell us that no other girl but this girl, which the word this is pointing out to, has stood first in the class. Therefore, we can say a determiner tells us which one means a person or thing, what is being referred to. Therefore, determiner plays this role of specifying or pointing out to something. As you can see in this example, this girl has stood first in the class. So it is telling us that which person has stood first in the class, this person or this girl. But an adjective tells some special quality of a noun and tells what kind of person or the thing is meant. It is not telling us which one, but it is telling us the quality of that particular person, the special quality of the noun or person, and tells us what kind of person or the thing is meant to be. So this is the first and foremost difference between an adjective and a determiner. Let us see the next point of difference between an adjective and a determiner. The form of an adjective can change, whereas determiners remain the same. This is the second point of difference between an adjective and a determiner. That adjectives are in the functionality or has the ability of changing its form. As you can see in the example, large is the positive form or the base form, you can say. It can change to its comparative form as larger and further into its superlative degree form, that is largest. So we can change large into larger and largest. But comparing over here, any, which, your, this and each is one of the types of determiners which cannot change its form. They remain the same. We can't say any, year or anyest. Can we do so? No. Similarly, we can't say whicher, whichest, yourest, or thisest, eacher, eachest. Well, this is just a fun way of explaining the thing, but we cannot change its form. But yes, you can take one more example: heavy, heavier, heaviest, where the word heavy was the adjective in the positive degree, having the letter Y and then changing its form by applying IER and IEST, which we learned in the chapter about adjectives. So, adjectives have the ability of changing its form, whereas determinants do not possess the quality or the ability to change its form. This is the second main difference between an adjective and a determinant. Well, let us see the third and the last difference. The position of an adjective in a sentence is before a noun or as a complement of a noun. Let us understand this with the help of the given examples on the board. Example, an interesting book. When I am describing a book, I am writing the word interesting just before the noun over here. Therefore, it is said the position of an adjective in a sentence is before a noun or as a complement of a noun. In the second sentence, you will be able to experience and understand that the complement of a noun has been written. This book is interesting. So here, this book we are pointing out with the demonstrating over here, which I can say is a determiner. This book is interesting. So the word is interesting is the complement of the word book, which is a noun. Whereas if you compare determiner and its position, the position of a determiner is always before nouns. It does not have a second position, unlike the adjective as a complement. This pen, the word this is used just before the noun pen. That girl, some ideas, and so on. So I hope this explanation about the difference between the adjective and determiners must have helped you not to mix the understanding of what adjectives and determiners are. Let us now move along and understand the next thing that we need to understand about articles, that is the types of articles. Articles are classified basically into two types: the indefinite article and the definite articles. So we will be discussing about each one of them in detail and then try to find out the point of difference with a tabular chart. Let us now understand the classification of articles into its groups. Well, articles can be classified into two groups: the indefinite articles, which are a and an, definite article, which is the. A and an are indefinite articles. They are also because they do not indicate any particular person, thing or place. They are not thing, people or person or place specific. They do not indicate any particular thing over there. Such articles are used only with singular countable nouns denoting one. One refers to the singularity of the noun or the object. So this is one important thing that you need to keep in mind, that such articles, that is the indefinite articles like a and an, are used only with singular countable nouns. You don't use them with uncountable nouns. Examples: a dog is barking. So here we are referring to not any particular person, place, thing or dog. So here dog refers to any dog. It could be any dog which is barking. So we are simply writing a dog is barking. Similarly, an apple fell from the tree. There were a couple of apples hanging on the tree and one of them fell. So we are simply saying an apple fell from the tree. We are not telling a particular apple that was on the third branch of on the left side of the tree. Nothing particular about that. So we are using an apple fell from the to indicate something that is not particular. Well, this was about the indefinite article. Moving ahead, the word the. The is the definite article. It is also because it indicates to or indicates about a particular person, thing or place. Just the opposite of the indefinite article. It can be used with both singular and plural nouns. Unlike the indefinite article, which can only be used with a singular countable noun, this can be used. The definite article can be used with both singular and plural nouns, and even with uncountable nouns. So both the indefinite and definite have got opposite ideas or opposite functionalities to each other. Let's take two examples. The car met with an accident yesterday. So are we meaning to say that any car met with an accident, or we are meaning to say a particular car? Well, here we mean to say the car which was traveling or which was going, or we mean to say or pointing out to a particular car. Therefore, we are saying the car met with an accident. You are referring to or talking to about some particular car. Therefore, it is required or it is necessary to use the definite article the when speaking or referring to such an idea. The girl won the first prize. We are not talking about any girl who won the first prize. We are here trying to say or convey the idea or convey the message that one particular girl whom we are referring to. Therefore, the girl won the first prize. So in this manner, articles can be put into two groups, the indefinite article and the definite articles. Let us try to summarize this piece of information in a tabular chart, which I can read it out to you. Indefinite articles and definite articles. Keep these two views in your mind. For the definite articles, we can say as a point of difference, they generalize a noun. It is a and an. So indefinite articles a and an are used to generalize a noun. In comparison to that, we can say that the definite article, it particularizes a noun. Be careful or listen to me carefully about the words that I use. Generalize and particularize. So definite article plays the role of generalization of nouns, whereas definite article plays the role of particularization of nouns. The second point of difference, a and an are used with singular nouns as we just saw on the board, whereas the article the is used with both singular and plural nouns. The third point of difference that can be observed when using indefinite and definite, they are considered to be the abbreviated form of one. That is something to show the singular entity or something to express the idea of oneness or one. They are considered to be the abbreviated form of one. That is the short form of one. Instead of one, we can use the article a also. I have one brother, I have a brother. So instead of one, we can say a brother. The opposite point of difference, the article the is considered to be the abbreviated form of these, that, those and this. Yes, we learned about the determiners, that is the demonstratives, the words that point out to something. Even in the definition, we have learned that it is used to indicate or indicates to or about a particular person. It means it points out to something. The same role is played by the determiner demonstrative to. That is this, that, these and those. So we can say in the summarized way that the article the definite article the is considered to be the abbreviated form of the determiners which are demonstratives, these, that, those and this. The fourth and the final point of difference, a and an are generally used with countable nouns. Generally used with countable nouns. What do I mean by saying this? When I have already said it is used only with countable nouns, well, there is one exceptional case where we use the indefinite article with uncountable nouns. I will be explaining that in a while. The opposite point of difference, that is the definite article. The can be used with uncountable nouns and countable nouns, whereas the indefinite can be used only with countables, with an exception that I will be telling you soon. Now let us discuss the general rule where an indefinite is used, that is and or how to use it, which I firmly believe you learned in the earlier classes too. The article a, which is an indefinite article, is used before nouns beginning with consonants or consonant sounds. Yes, I am quite sure you learned about this in the earlier class too. This is a kind of revision what we are doing. Taking an example, a boy, I am using the article a along with the word boy. So if you carefully observe the pronunciation or the speaking out of the word boy, you will find that the word boy begins with the consonant B, the letter B, which is a consonant, and it has a consonant sound too, we can say. So the word boy will be preceded with the article a and not an. But if you carefully understand this word, European, the spelling of the word European is E-U-R-O-P-E-A-N, European. But when I use it in a sentence or when I use an article before the word European and I say he is a European and I don't say he is an European. Why? Because here the word European no doubt begins with the letter E, which is a vowel, but it does not pronounce or it does not sound with the vowel sound over here. It is to be read with the beginning of the letter U, which is also a vowel, the letter U, European. But the sound that is produced over there is the Y-O-O-U sound, Y-O-O-U. Therefore, when you write European, you write a European and not an European, because the sound that is carried in this is the Y-O-O-U sound, European. Therefore, we use the article a to indicate this, because it has a consonant sound and not a vowel sound in the beginning when it is said. Well, the article an is used before nouns beginning with vowels and vowel sounds. Generally, we consider that if a word begins with a vowel, the letter which is a vowel, then we use the article an. But when something is beginning with a vowel sound, then too we make use of the article an and not a. Example, I say an apple. You can very well understand that the word apple begins with the letter a, which is a vowel letter. But if I say the word hour, H-O-U-R, hour, it begins with the letter H, which is a consonant letter and not a vowel letter. Despite of that, we say an hour and not a hour or a hour. We are not pronouncing or we are not stating or speaking the sound of the letter H. It is silent. We are saying hour with the pronouncing the sound a and not H. Therefore, in both these words we use the article an and not a. An apple, an hour. So this is how we use the article an with the words beginning with a vowel letter or a vowel sound. When we talk about abbreviations, short forms, words like or abbreviations like MBA, Masters of Business Administration, MBA, which is the abbreviation of the word Masters of Business Administration, where the word or where the abbreviation which begins with a vowel sound, we are saying MBA, EMM. The sound produced over here is EMM. When I write the abbreviation MBA, it has got the vowel sound EM, M inside it when you try to speak this. Therefore, in this case too, we will be using the article an and not a. So this was the general rule about the using of the article, the indefinite article a and an respectively. Well, this is not all. We have 6 more rules to understand, or 6 more uses to understand the use of the article a and an. Let me discuss this with you too. The first use is to indicate a single entity. Yes, to indicate something that is singular, one, and not more than one. We use the article a in order to express the idea of something that is singular. Example, a bag, a car, a man, a woman. When you want to express the singularity of something, when you want to express the singular entity of something, we rightfully use the article a before it. Similarly, the second use is to express a certain quantity of something. When you want to express, or when you want to talk about the quantity of some object or something, then we make use of the article a before it. For example, when I say the word dozen, we all know the meaning of the word dozen means 12 pieces individually, but together it is a collective noun, as explained earlier, that collective nouns use only a singular article before it or singular verb before it. So, when I say dozen, I mean to say a dozen. A dozen bananas, a cup of sugar. When I say a cup of sugar, I don't mean to say the sugar, the material inside, but I say a cup of sugar. I mean to say a quantity of sugar. The third thing where the article a is used is to show the rank, a profession, or a community. When you talk about these things, rank, profession, or community, we rightfully use the article, the indefinite article a before it. For example, I say a Hindu, a Muslim, a Christian to indicate someone's community, someone's religion. Similarly, when I talk about somebody's profession, I say a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, an architect. So in all these places, to indicate a community or to indicate someone's profession, I have rightfully and appropriately used the articles a and an, whatever suits the best. Similarly, to show the rank of someone. For example, a general in the army. So I say a general. General is the rank or the position of someone, a designation of a person in the army. So this is how we use the article a or an to show rank, profession, or a community. The fourth usage of the article a is to indicate any for identifying an individual as the representative of a class. When you talk about the class of something, so for example, the entire class of students, it could be any representative. I can say a child should obey his parents. So here what we are trying to indicate the entire community of children. So I say a child should obey his parents. We are not talking about one child and leaving aside the other children. We are saying a child, where child refers to the entire community of children, each and every child. Therefore, a child should obey his parents, where we have used the article a before the word child, where child is not only a singular entity but also representing the entire group of children or the entire community of children. The fifth usage of the article a is before a proper name to point out an unfamiliar person. Yes, this is the thing which I had just discussed when I was discussing the features in the tabular chart with you, that the article a and an are generally used with countables, but yes, there is one place where we use it with uncountables or with proper noun, that is before a proper noun to point out an unfamiliar person, someone who is unfamiliar. When you do not know a person at all and when you are talking about such a person, we make use of the article a or an accordingly with unfamiliar people. For example, I generally don't say Sonali Sharma, or I don't say a Sonali Sharma wants to meet you. But yes, when I want, or when I am referring to that Sonali Sharma is not known to me, is an unfamiliar person, she is a stranger to me, then I can rightfully use a Sonali Sharma who is a stranger for me and she wants to meet me. So I can write in my sentence, a Sonali Sharma wants to meet me. Otherwise, in general, if you know the person, if Sonali Sharma is your friend and someone tells you Sonali Sharma wants to meet you and you given the appointment, then you cannot use the article a with the proper noun Sonali Sharma. Only if the person is unfamiliar, you will be able to make use of the article a with a proper noun, as in the example I just spoke out. Or if we want to express a special meaning, sometimes we express a special meaning about a proper noun or a proper name. For example, he thinks he is a Sonu Nigam. Well, someone who sings very good as Sonu Nigam and thinks that he is as good as Sonu Nigam, then the sentence can contain the article a by saying he thinks he is a Sonu Nigam. Well, otherwise the word Sonu Nigam cannot carry an article with it in the general way of referring to a proper noun. But here in this sentence, where we are expressing a special meaning that someone considers himself to be as good as Sonu Nigam, then we can make use of the article a with a proper noun. So these were the 5 uses of the indefinite article a and an. Let us see the last one, number 6. In expressions like, I will repeat, in expressions like, when you want to make these expressions which I am going to read out, when you use the word mess, what a mess you have created. He took. What a pity. What a pity. When you want to pity someone and you say, what a pity. When you use the expression by saying lot of work, he has a lot of work to finish. In all these expressions, we make use of the article a in the appropriate manner. Well, these were the 6 uses of the indefinite article a and an. I hope you understood this quite well. We will now be understanding the use of the definite articles as we just understood about the indefinite article. The article the is used before 12 different expressions, 12 different ways. Let us understand about each one of them in details. The first one, a definite noun when we want to make it particular. That was the basic thing what we learned about the understanding of the definite articles. It is called so because it indicates to or about a particular person, thing or place. Well, that is the first and foremost use of the definite article. Example, the butterfly which flew into the room was pink. Now we are not referring to any butterfly. In this example sentence, we are referring to the butterfly which flew into the room. The one which came into the room was pink in color or was pink. The can be used with countables like cars, books, etc. and with uncountables like the word information. Also, it can be used with singular countable nouns and plural countable nouns. So this was the first usage of the definite article the. We have 11 more to understand. So be attentive and try to write the things in your notebook. The second use of the article the. An adjective when it represents a class or is used as a noun. When the article the is representing the class of something, just like we understood the indefinite article a representing the class of children or becoming the representative, the word child representing the entire class of children. Similarly, an adjective when it represents a class or is used as a noun. For example, in this sentence, the rich should help the poor. Here what do we mean to say? Here we mean to say not a particular rich person. The entire community of rich people is expected to help the entire community of the poor people. Therefore, in this sentence, the rich should help the poor, or the rich must help the poor, where we have used the article the before the word rich and before the word poor. Here, rich and poor are two such adjectives which demonstrates or which qualifies or is pointing out to the entire class of rich and poor people. The third usage of the article the, a common noun to represent a whole class. When you sometimes talk about a common noun which is now representing the whole class of things, the whole community of things. For example, in this sentence or these example sentences, the tiger is a cruel animal. Do we mean to say only one tiger is cruel, leaving aside all the other tigers that are found in the jungle or in the zoo? No. We mean to say the tiger is a cruel animal, referring to each and every tiger that you talk of, speak of, think of, imagine about. So, the whole community being represented by one common noun, that is tiger. The fox is a cunning animal. We are referring to all the fox that are found in the jungle. The fox is a cunning animal and the tiger is a cruel animal, where tiger and fox represent the entire community or the class of fox and tiger that are to be found, which is a common noun. In this way we use the article the. We are not talking about a particular tiger or a particular fox. The fourth usage of the article the, an adjective when it shows a quality. When you talk about the quality of something, then we make use of the article the in our speech or in our saying. For example, the beauty of the flowers is amazing. Here we are showing the quality, the beauty of the flowers, that it is really amazing. And there we use the article the beauty. When you are talking about the beauty of the flowers, that is the quality of the flower, beauty is the virtue of that flowers. So the beauty of the flowers is amazing contains the article the in order to express the idea about the quality that is vested inside the object. Moving ahead to the next one. When you talk about superlatives, yes, the superlative degree of adjective. We learned about this earlier. Superlatives. For example, it is the smallest bird in the zoo. When you're talking about the smallest bird that you have seen in the zoo, the smallest, where the word smallest was framed out of the word small. Small, smaller, smallest. The highest degree, the superlative degree. It is necessary to use the article the before the superlative degree of the adjective whenever you use it in a sentence. Therefore, here in this sentence, it is the smallest bird in the zoo, emphasizing on the word the smallest. Keep this in mind. The sixth usage of the article, the definite article the. A noun to show a unit of measurement. When you want to show the unit of something or the unit of counting, we use the article the. For example, eggs are sold by the dozen. So when you want to buy eggs, when you want to buy bananas, when you want to buy something that is sold in a quantity of 12, we will rightfully use dozen word in our sentence, and that is the place where you have to use the article the. So bananas are sold by the dozen, eggs are sold by the dozen, and so on. The dozen would be the criteria or the unit of measurement. Milk is sold by the liter. Liter is a unit of measurement. Therefore, we will rightfully or appropriately apply the article the before the word liter, which is the unit of measurement. Moving ahead with the next one, the seventh one, the seventh usage. We use the article the before or when talking about direction and common nouns that are unique, something that is special, one of its kind, something that is just unique and there is no second like it. When we talk about direction, for example, north, south, east, west, 4 directions, yes. So 4 directions are all unique in its kind when you are talking about directions. The east, the west, the north, the south, the southeast, the southwest, the northeast, the northwest. We will definitely use the article the when talking about directions. We cannot miss it out. We need to make use of the article the in our speech or in our writing. Similarly, when you talk about unique things, something that is just one of its kind, there is no second of it. For example, talk about the earth. You don't simply say earth, we say the earth. The earth revolves around the sun, the moon, the planets. So, when you talk about such particular things, unique things, we make use of the article the before these nouns. The next use of the article the eighth usage is certain common nouns. Yes, certain common nouns where we undoubtedly use or without fail we use the article the. Certain common nouns like the word cinema, the word temple, the word theatre. The cinema, the temple and the theatre. No doubt they are singular, they are countable, but they are common and we undoubtedly without fail we use the article the with them. The cinema. I went to the cinema yesterday. And you don't say simply I went to cinema yesterday. You will definitely, undoubtedly, without fail you will be using the article the when you talk about cinema in a sentence. Similarly, I visited temple would be completely incorrect to state. We will have to say I visited the temple yesterday in the evening. Similarly, if I talk about the theatre, the play was going on in the theatre when I entered. One more example. I often go to the theatre with my family. So we don't simply say I often go to theatre, but I will definitely say the theatre when I use the word theatre in my sentence. Moving ahead with the next usage of the definite article the is with a noun when that has already been mentioned, something that has already been used or referred to earlier. When we have already spoken about that in the earlier sentence, in the previous sentence, and you are repeating it again in the next sentence, when you are referring about the same thing again, then we make use of the article the. For example, there are two sentences, two parts in a single sentence. I bought a vase from the shop. So I am repeating, I bought a vase from the shop. Now I will be expressing something about the vase again in the sentence the second time. The vase is beautiful. So carefully listen to this. I bought a vase from the shop, where I have already spoken about or I have referred to about the object a vase. What did I buy? A vase. And I am again trying to say in the same sentence as the second part of it, the vase is beautiful. So the second part or the second sentence over here which contains something referred about the vase again. This time I will be using the vase and not a vase. So the whole sentence will be I bought a vase from the shop. The vase is beautiful. The next usage, when it is clear from the situation which people or things we mean. When you have a clear idea about some situation which people or things are in, then we use the article the. For example, the teacher is in the class. When you already know that the teacher is in the class and you're talking about that particular teacher, so when it is clear for the situation which people or things we mean, when you mean about someone particular, that this person that you are talking about, so we make use of the article the. The teacher is in the class and not a teacher is in the class. The 11th usage of the article the, with phrases that specify a person or object. When a phrase is talking about or telling us about a person or an object. For example, the first house. This is a phrase, not a sentence. The first house, the only baby, the same pen, the main purpose, the next person are certain examples of the phrases that specify a person or an object. In such phrases, we make use of the article the. The last use of the article the is also used with the names of, and there is a long list of it. So listen to it carefully. Seas and oceans. For example, the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. So when you talk about oceans, we definitely use the article the. We cannot use it without the article. We don't just say Pacific Ocean or Atlantic Ocean. We say the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, so on. With the names of holy books, the Quran, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata. With names of trains, ships and aeroplanes, the Rajdhani Express, the Emirates, the British liner. With names of rivers, the Ganga, the Yamuna, the Godavari. With names of mountain ranges, we make use of the article the by saying the Alps, the Himalayas, but we don't use it with singular mountains, but we use it with mountain ranges. Keep this in mind. Newspapers, the Times of India, the Gujarat Samachar, the Saurashtra Samachar, and so on. Countries, if the name has a common noun, we use it with names of countries if it has a common noun. For example, the United Kingdom, the United States of America. Here you will find the word United States, United Kingdoms having common nouns inside them. Therefore, we make use of the article the. Important buildings use the definite article the before them, preceded with them. For example, talk about Taj Mahal, we say the Taj Mahal, the Qutub Minar. The whole families, when you talk about the entire families with their surnames, we say the entire Guptas or the entire Sharmas. So we say the Guptas, the Kapoors, the Sharmas, and so on. So these were the 12 expressions, the 12 ways where we used the article the in the usage. We use the article the with expressions like finally, on the other hand, speak the truth, to play the guitar, the more the merrier. So these are also a few expressions where we make use of the article the. I hope this was helpful to you to understand about the indefinite and definite articles. In the upcoming lecture, we will be continuing our discussion about the articles, where we will be covering the topic about omission of articles, and we will be putting our hands on important exercises about the use of indefinite and definite articles and the omission of articles. Till then, have a nice day. Goodbye.